For more on this development, let's bring in a Niger Delta activist, Ann-Kio Briggs, who joins us live from Port Harcourt. I remember that we had a conversation on this development earlier in January, and you showed concern about how a proposed 10% equity share for host community was brought down as low as 2.5%. And we're going to talk about your concerns in a while. But I remember you also mentioned how impossible it was for you to believe that 17 years after, it took Nigeria quite a number of years to, come up with a bill. Are you excited that this bill is now an act? And are there some things that you're really excited about as a voice from the Niger Delta?
Excited over what? Good evening, and thank you for having me. It really is unbelievable, both on the side of the Niger Delta people, on the side of my people, my representatives, because like you quite rightly said, this bill has been in the making for close to 20 years. We've had several Senates come and go in that period of time, of which no matter how disenfranchised the Niger Delta people are, they are still in the assembly. Now, the 8th assembly, which is the assembly that brought in Buhari, this so-called 30% going for the exploration of oil in the so-called frontier state. What is frontier state? It's just a northern state. It's just a state that the cabal, the cabal has put this together. But this particular 30%, and then the 2.5%, and then the 5%, whatever percentage they want to call it, was not in the discussion at the 8th assembly. So this has come in when the 8th assembly has gone out, and we have the 9th assembly. And if you remember, the Senate president of the 9th assembly, when he was selected or elected by his peers, so-called, said very clearly that anything that comes to the assembly, that he will it will sail through, and that is what is being done right now. The only reason why the president, who is supposed to be isolating himself, has rushed to sign this bill is simply because of that 30%. And in this past assembly, they have made sure that everything that is going to be in favor of the so-called frontier states have gone into this bill. And so once it is everything they want have gone into the bill, making sure that every state or every community in the so-called frontier states that are not oil producing but have have pipelines running through their community is now somehow oil producing, or is somehow impacted by the exploration of oil and gas. Indeed. I don't blame them.
Indeed. I get your point. But let me butt in very quickly. I just want to remind you that in January, thereabout, there was this free-for-all at the House of Reps press briefing on this matter. It's hard to tell, honestly, how united host communities are behind these concerns that you have shared, because even the Minister of State himself also supported the federal government stance in this regard. But talk to us about, would you be pleased that this hasn't been delayed, or will we now have a law return to the National Assembly for amendment in all of these areas that you have pointed out?
Well, you see, looking at things the way things should be done, we should not even have found ourselves in this mess, in this position. Where were the representatives, and who are the people that are going to now take it back to the assembly and ask for the bill to be changed in our favor, for the section of that bill that is not in our favor to be changed in our favor? It is still these same representatives that were sitting down there when when this whole the 30% was infused into it. They were there. If they were not there, they were in their homes in Abuja sitting down, or in their state capital where they come from. Now the point is this: they have failed. I do agree, and I have always said it, that the assembly is lopsided. When you have 17 states to 19 states, when you have more local governments here, more representatives in the House of Representatives than in the Niger Delta state. But I've also maintained that if for nothing else sake, at least our representatives should be seen and heard by us, the people, to have done the right thing. Let it be that they raised their voices and they were shouted down. It is better than not doing anything. So saying it should go back to the assembly, which assembly is it going to go back to? To the very assembly that did this is the same assembly. They will still throw it out. It won't mean anything, and it won't achieve anything. The only thing that we are still talking about today, as I speak to you now, is really the issue of restructuring. Okay. Now, I want to also take this position this evening and on your program to say that even the issue of restructuring is flogging a dead horse. But again, I think we need to be seen to be flogging the dead horse. But at some point, we have to stop flogging the dead horse. I believe that we have to stop flogging the dead horse, but that we need to make it very clear that since we have already seen that the issue of restructuring is never going to be accepted in this government, I think it is time for us, the Niger Delta people, the oil-producing communities, to begin to see that we must first of all unite, and then we must now confront
I get your point. But let me quickly take you back to this document. Beyond the host communities development issue that you're concerned about and the 30% profit sharing for frontier states in regards to oil exploration, this particular document has more to offer. Here there's the issue of governance and institutions, administration, there is Petroleum Industry fiscal framework. The Minister of State recently just mentioned that within 6 months, the NNPC will become a commercial company. There has to be something in this document you're pleased with, or that your region is excited about.
Well, I mean, how many people in the Niger Delta region are going to be able to bid for the commercialization, or to be part of the process of this commercialization that everybody is talking about? It is still the same cabal that is going to be part of this commercialization of the NNPC. It is still a certain people that are going to be able to use CBN, the money in the CBN, to buy for themselves and their descendants coming the resources of the Niger Delta. So when you say to me, is there not anything that I see in there that is good for the Niger Delta people? Oh, I can tell you sarcastically what is in there that will continue for the Niger Delta people, and that is that people will continue to share our resources. People, the federal government will continue to take what is in the Niger Delta and share it to people who are lazy. States that cannot sustain themselves will continue to suck the resources out of us. People will continue to drink polluted water and breathe polluted air, and life will just go on unless the Niger Delta people are prepared to say no. Enough is enough.
Trust me, we've not had the end of this conversation, and I think that we're going to talk more about it as we count down in a matter of hours for the ceremonial part of this particular ascent. Thank you so much, Ann-Kio Briggs, Niger Delta activist, for sharing your thoughts with us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.